If you think that it's too late for you, you are now in your late 30s, going into your 40s, and you haven't really experimented with makeup, and now you think that it's too late for you, you think you don't know where to start, this video is for you. Hello my loves, welcome to my channel. My name is Togo. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today I'm going to be going into detail about starting your makeup journey in your 30s, specifically in your late 30s, because things have changed. Things have changed from when I was 20, when I was 25, when I was 30. Now that I'm in my late 30s, things have changed. So I'm going to share with you the things that I found that they are working best for me now that I'm in this very exciting stage of my life, my late 30s. I'm very excited. I'm actually looking forward to turning 40 in a few years, but for now, this is where we are at. So today, if you want to start your makeup journey and you think it's too late, you don't know where to start, you don't know what works for, women in their 30s, I'm going to show you today that you can still start your makeup journey. And I'm going to share with you the things that I found that have been very helpful for me, because I've always loved makeup. I started my makeup when I was in my teens, my 20s, my 30s. Now that I'm in my late 30s, things have definitely changed. My skin has changed. What my skin requires has changed. So I'm going to share all of that with you. So if you want to know all about that, do stick around. And if you enjoy the video and if you learn something and if you find it valuable, please do click that subscribe button and also do give the video a thumbs up. It will help me a lot. So without going on and on and on, let's get started. Let's do this makeup look and you will see that it's never too late and that you don't need to feel overwhelmed. You can do it. I trust you, you can do it. So let's just jump right onto it. All right, let's take it from the beginning. Right now, I've just washed my face. I don't have anything on my face, and I'm going to moisturize my face because that's where you need to begin. That's where you need to start. You need to make sure that you moisturize your skin very well. That's another thing that is going to make sure that your makeup looks flawless. So I'm just going to start with this serum from Standard Beauty. It's a niacinamide serum with hyaluronic acid, because that's exactly what you need: moisture, moisture, and more moisture. So I'm going to apply this serum. It also helps with improving texture on your skin, because that's another thing that I've noticed. As we get more mature, you start to notice a bit more texture on your skin than you might have noticed before. And now I'm going to go on to moisturize my face. For that, I use this Nivea cream. I've been using this cream for quite some time now. It's quite a heavy cream, but I really enjoy it because it's very moisturizing. So as much as I have oily skin, I don't like applying something that is going to mattify my skin, especially when I'm doing skincare. I want to glow. I want to see my skin moist and glowing. So that's why I use this moisturizer. And then I always make sure that I apply my sunscreen. For that, I use this Nivea sunscreen. Been using this for years as well. You always want to make sure that you apply your sunscreen. Using a moisturizing sunscreen always helps with that. This one is said to provide UVA protection. It's water resistant. 48-hour skin moisture. I'm heavy on the skin moisture because I think my skin, as I'm getting more mature, it just requires more moisture. It also absorbs very quickly, so I like that. And the little bit of white cast that you see, it disappears quite quickly. So I also enjoy that about this sunscreen. So I'm saying all of this to say that when you are in your late 30s, going into your 40s, you really need to make sure that you moisturize, because your makeup is just going to look even better if you take care of your skin. It's just going to look even more flawless and it's going to look more skin-like because you are taking care of your skin underneath that makeup. I always give my skin a few minutes just to make sure that all the products are absorbed before I start applying my makeup. Otherwise, it's just going to be a mess. So I pat the product in, make sure that everything is nice and absorbed and that my skin is ready for the makeup. Now I'm going to go on to primer. With primer, I'm going to use this primer from Rimmel London. I use this primer a lot because it's a mattifying primer. I have oily skin, so if you have oily skin, you don't want to feel greasy after applying your makeup. So I like to apply this primer, especially at the center of my face, because that is where I get the most oily. The other part of my face, not so much. So I don't apply this mattifying primer on the other part of my face because I actually like the look of, you know, being glowy on the outer part of my face. So I don't mind even if I see that my skin is beginning to produce those oils during the day. So I don't mind it when that happens in the outer part of my face, but I don't like to feel greasy in the middle of my face. So that's where I apply this primer. If you have dry skin, you definitely don't need a mattifying primer. You need a moisturizing primer, or you can skip primer altogether, because if you've applied your moisturizing serums, your face moisturizer, and you feel that your face is moist enough, then you don't really need anything other than that. So now that I'm done with the primer, I'm going to move on to foundation. What I've realized as I've entered into my late 30s is that I don't need too much foundation on my face. And I feel like the more you mature, the more your skin starts to, you know, have a bit more texture. And if you have too much foundation on your skin, it can actually make that texture on your skin to look even worse than what it is. So the rule that I can give you is that the less foundation you have on your skin, the better it's going to look for you. So, and another thing that I found to be working for me is that cream products, they look way better on my skin than, you know, too much powder or even liquid products, because sometimes liquid products, even though you do get liquid foundations that are moisturizing and leave you with a dewy finish, but most of the time you find that they are quite matte and they dry up your skin. So cream products actually look like skin on your face. So I'm going to use this Blk Opal True Color Foundation Stick in the shade, let's see, what's the shade? Beautiful Bronze. When it comes to brushes, you don't really need a million brushes to begin with. You just need a foundation brush, or else you need a beauty sponge to blend your foundation. And then you just need a fluffy brush like this that you can use to apply your powder as well as your blush. You can actually use the same brush, but I'm going to be using different brushes, but they are quite similar. I'm going to use one for applying powder because you still do need to set your foundation with a little bit of powder. So it's not to say that you can't use powder at all. You need to set your foundation with powder, otherwise it's going to move around your face. And then I also have this brush. It's still a fluffy brush, but it's at a bit of an angle. I use this brush to apply my contour around this area. I find that it works really well. And then the next brush that you need, it's just an eyeshadow brush, because we're still going to do something with the eyes, even though we're not going to be applying eyeshadow, but we're still going to do something just so that we don't leave that area completely undone. And then I also have this small angled brush. I'm going to use this just to bring a bit of a contour on my nose. That is it. Those are all the brushes that I'm going to be using today. But as we move along, as I'm applying more products, I'm going to talk about the brush that I'm using. So right now I'm going to use this brush. I'm first going to spray it with setting spray. I find that it really helps with the blending if your brushes are a bit moist. So this foundation stick, I find that it works really well if you don't apply it directly on your face. It's also going to make sure that you control how much product you place on your face. Like I said, you don't need to pack on too much foundation on your face. So I'm going to use this brush to pick up some of this foundation and then apply it on my face. As you can see, I don't really need to apply too much of this product, and it's providing quite a good amount of coverage. So I'm just going to apply what I feel that I need. If you need more coverage, you can always apply more. It's always better to layer whatever products that you are applying on your face. Don't just start packing so much product on your face. You can always add more, but you can't take away if you've applied too much. So as you can see, I'm trying to avoid applying too much foundation at the center of my face because I'm still going to apply concealer there. So I don't really need to pack on too many products in that area. As you can see, I'm tapping very gentle on this foundation stick because I'm trying to avoid applying too much product that I don't really need on my face. I actually prefer it when I can still see a bit of, imperfections coming through my skin. I just think that makes it look more realistic, and it just makes me feel like I'm still put together, but I don't have products packed on my face. Now I'm going to move on to concealer. With concealer, you do want to brighten up your under eyes. That will just make you look more awake, more fresh. But before you apply a light concealer, it's always best to first apply a concealer that looks close to your skin tone, just to first even out the tone of your under eyes and other areas of your face before you can apply a light concealer to brighten those areas. So for that, I'm going to use this concealer from L'Oreal Paris in the shade 338. As you can see, this concealer is not too bright. It's more closer to the tone of my skin and also this area around my mouth because I do have a bit of discoloration that I want to even out. I'm also going to apply a little bit here. And a trick that I can give you is that let your concealer sit a little bit and dry down a little bit. That way you are going to get more coverage without you applying more products, because if you just go straight and blend it, you're not going to get as much coverage, and then you're going to feel like you need to apply more to get more coverage. But if you just leave it a little bit to dry down, you're still going to get that coverage without applying more concealer. As your skin matures, you want to apply less products on your face. That's how you're going to actually look your age and not look older, because no one wants to look older. What I want to do though is I want to look my best at every age. So now I'm going to start blending this concealer. I'm going to use the same foundation brush that I used to blend around my mouth as well as on my forehead. I'm going to blend under my eyes last because I need the most coverage in that area. So I'm going to start here, blend out. Under my eyes, I'm actually going to use the beauty sponge. And another thing that I like to do is to apply setting spray as I'm blending my complexion products. It will just help with, the longevity of your foundation. So I'm just making sure that this concealer is blended into the foundation that I applied earlier. So that's why I'm blending it into that foundation. Now I'm going to blend under my eyes using a beauty sponge. It's moist, by the way, and it just blends better when it's moist. I love the fact that I can still see my skin. I don't feel like my skin is completely covered. As much as I look like I have makeup on, but I don't feel it on my face. I really don't. And I love that. Now I'm going to move on to blush. I don't think that I'm going to apply powder blush, but we'll see as we move along. But for now, I want to apply this liquid blush from Zaron. It's called Cheeky Liquid Blush. I think that applying liquid blush gives you that youthful look that it's like you are glowing from within. It just looks very pretty. So for that, I'm going to use a brush to apply it. I'm actually going to use this brush that I normally use to apply my contour. You can use the same brush for different purposes. And another trick that I want to give you is that as we mature, gravity can take its toll. So you you might start to see that some things are not where they used to be. Some things are lower than they than they used to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it's that's just nature. But when you apply your makeup, you want to make sure that you get the best out of your makeup. So I'm going to apply a little bit more because I'm still going to set my face, so I don't want this to completely disappear. So I think I need to apply quite a bit so that I can still see it. So the trick that I wanted to give you is that when you are applying your blush, you need to apply it upwards. That's the first thing. And then the second thing, you must apply it at the high point of your cheekbones. That is what is going to give you that illusion of, being lifted and all. If you apply it a bit lower, it's going to make you look like things are sagging on your face, whereas that's not the case. It's just that you placed your blush lower than you should have. So when you are blending your blush, just blend it upwards. And I also like to just go up my temples when I'm applying the blush. I just think that it makes the look more cohesive as opposed to just applying it on the cheeks and nowhere else. And I actually bring it all the way in. I just think that it gives you that illusion of youthfulness and all of that. Like I said, you want to look your best. You don't want to look, older than you actually are. I don't think that there's anyone who wants to look older than what they are. I know this might look like it's a lot, but like I said, I'm still going to set my face, so the face powder is going to tone it down a little bit more. I also would like to just take a little bit of that to my nose. Again, it just gives you that pop of youthfulness that I like. Now that I've done that, I'm going to now brighten my under eyes. So for that, I'm going to use this concealer again from L'Oreal Paris. It's in the shade 335. I'm actually going to mix it with the one that I've applied before to just even out my complexion, just to tone it down a little bit because I don't want that bright under eye. I just don't think it's necessary. For me, what I've noticed is that at the center of my face, that's where I can see the most texture on my skin. So when I apply highlight to this area, it actually highlights that texture on my skin, which is not what I'm going for. I just want to highlight my very under eye. That is all, because I want to look more awake. So as you can see, I'm not bringing this concealer anywhere around this area because like I said, this is where I can see the most texture on my skin. I don't want to highlight this area. Now I'm going to set my under eyes immediately. And for that, I'm going to use this loose powder from Yardley. It's in the shade Translucent Buff. So I'm taking off the excess powder on the back of my hand because I don't need too much. I don't bake. I find that baking, it really dries down my skin and I don't like the look that it gives me. So I just set and that's it. Then the rest of the powder, I'm just going to apply it on my nose. So you don't really need that much powder. The other thing is, like I said, it's better to layer your product. So don't just go in and just pack on powder under your eyes. It's better to go back if you feel that you still need more. So when it comes to contour, when you're a beginner, you can use a cream or a liquid contour where you use a foundation stick that is a few shades darker than your actual shade, or a concealer that is a few shades darker than your actual shade, and then you blend it very well to make sure that you don't really see the lines of demarcation. But when you are a beginner, I would suggest that you start with a powder contour rather. That way it's much better to control where you place your powder, and you can always go in with very little at a time until you achieve that level of contour that you want to achieve. So I'm not going to apply any cream or liquid contour today. I'm just going to go straight into a powder contour. So for that, I'm using this powder from L'Oreal Infallible. It's in the shade 370. This is quite darker than my skin tone, so that's the powder that I'm going to use to just bring a bit more dimension on my face. And I'm going to use this angled brush that I showed you earlier on to apply it. So again, I'm going in very, very lightly. That's why I'm saying that I think that it's easier to apply a powder contour when you're a beginner as opposed to a cream or liquid contour. I think you have a bit more control on, firstly, the placement as well as the amount of product that you apply on your face. So I'm just applying this on the outer part of my face because you want to apply your contour where the sun would naturally, hit your face. That's where you will naturally get darker because the sun hits there the most as opposed to other parts of your face. So that's where you want to apply your contour. When you apply your foundation, your face just look one dimensional. It just looks one tone, one shade, whereas that's not really how most of our faces look. We have different shades or different tones on our face, so you just want to bring that back so that you look more realistic or more natural. You can also apply contour to this area. Firstly, it will just make you look more cohesive. Secondly, it will give you a bit of shade here if you have a bit of a double chin or you want to just look more contoured in this area, then it will help you with it. This is how we are looking, and I think it's coming along very nicely. Next, I'm going to set the rest of my face, and for that I'm going to use this powder again from L'Oreal Infallible in the shade 330. I'm just going to take a little bit of that because I don't need too much really. I've just brought this whole entire look together with the face powder. So what I'm going to do now is do my brows. You don't really need to do much with the brows. What I do is to just give my brows a bit of shape. I do that with hair remover. I just apply a little bit under here just to give this arch and just to show my brow bone because my brow hairs go all over here and I don't think that it frames my face very well. What you never ever want to do is to shape your brows to be too thin on your face. The fuller your brows are, the more youthful you're going to look. You just need to give them a little bit of shape. That is it. So what I'm going to do now is to just fill my brows in a little bit because they are areas where I feel like I want them to be fuller. So I'm not going to make them any thicker than what they are. I'm just going to fill the brow hairs where I feel like they need to be brow hairs. So for that, I'm using this Skinny Brow Artist from L'Oreal Paris as well. I like this because it can give you those thin brow-like strokes. That is all that I'm going to do with the pencil. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of concealer to just clean them up a little bit. And then I'm going to use this small eyeshadow brush just to clean them up a little bit. Now I'm going to take the sponge just to absorb any excess product. And now I'm going to take that same brush that I was using to clean up under the brows, and then I'm going to tap it at the head of my brow just to soften it up a little bit, because sometimes it can look a bit too harsh or too dark, too boxy. You don't want that. You want it to look as natural as possible. As you can see, that made a big difference. So now I'm going to take the powder that I use for my face and just tap over my brows. This is optional. For me, I don't like it when my brows are a bit too dark. So I do this to just soften them up a little bit. Alright, what I want to do now is I'm going to take an eyeshadow brush and I'm going to take that powder that I use to contour my face to set my eyelids. Remember, I did apply the foundation on my eyelid, so I need to set it. So I'm using this darker powder that I used for contour because I just want a bit of shadow on my eyelids. I like my eyelids when they are a bit shaded. Otherwise, you can use eyeshadow, but when you are a beginner, you sometimes need to learn things little by little. So if you are still trying to perfect your base, you might not be there yet where you want to start experimenting with eyeshadow. That's how we are looking, and I like it. You can take a little bit of what is remaining on this brush just to give your nose a bit of a contour if you feel that you need it, because sometimes when you apply powder on your nose, it can flatten it up and you end up not seeing your nose. So I'm not going to apply any more product. I'm just taking whatever was left on the brush and just drag it on the sides of the bridge of my nose. Can you see that it's doing something, but you can't really tell right away that there's something, but it's doing something. It's bringing back your nose shape. Now I'm just going to take that brush that I used to apply my face powder. I'm not applying any more product again. I'm using what was remaining in the brush. You see, it's really doing something, but you don't want to do too much. You don't really need much. You just need something, then it's going to make all the difference. So now I see that my blush, but this is optional again. I'm the type of a person that loves blush. I love it when I can see that I have blush on my face. But if you are not the type of a person, it's optional. You can leave it out because I can still see a little bit of that liquid blush coming through. So if that is enough for you, then you don't have to go on to this step. But I like blush. I like to see blush on my face. So I'm going to use this matte blush that is very, very light in pink. And I'm just going to pound that and tap off the excess because I don't want much. I just want something. Not too much though. See, I just love that. I just love it when I can see a bit of color on my face. I love how it's coming along. Now let me quickly apply my lashes. This step is optional again. You can just apply mascara. My favorite mascara is this mascara from Essence. It's the Lash Princess mascara. Very affordable. It's my favorite. It does the job. So you can just apply your mascara, because we've been applying some powder products on the eyelids, so your eyelashes are a bit powdery. You do need to apply a mascara, and let's just quickly do that. Okay, I've done my mascara. Let me quickly apply my liner and my lashes, then we're gonna come back and finish this whole entire look. All right, lashes are on. Now let's move on to lips. A tip that I can give you is that you want to stick to moisturizing lip products, preferably glossy lip products. That is what is going to give you that glowy, youthful appearance that I think all of us want. I think we all want to look as youthful as possible for as long as possible. So I'm going to use a contour stick to line my lips. I'm going to use this Revlon contour stick. You can just use any contour stick. And then I'm going to use a flat concealer brush to apply it. Okay, before I line my lips, I had lip balm on my lips and I didn't wipe it off. I'm going to apply my lip gloss on top of the lip balm because I want my lips to be as moisturized as possible. I'm going to use this Revlon Color Stay Satin Ink. It's in the shade 003, in So Deep. Wow, I like that. One thing that I found again is that you want to stick to, more nude, more natural looking lip products. That is just going to give you that flawless, more classy, more grown up appearance without doing too much. I'm not saying that you can't do color, but if you are still starting up, before you start experimenting with, other colors, you can just stick to your natural looking lip colors, like your browns, your maybe light pink, things like that. Things that are going to look more natural to your skin tone. All right, my loves, we are done. That is it for this look. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you gained something from it. I hope this showed you that it's never too late. If you want to start experimenting with makeup, you don't need to feel overwhelmed. You don't need to feel like you don't even know where to start. There's a lot that you can do with a few products. Even with the tools that you use, you don't need a million and one brushes. You can use, one brush for different purposes. So everything that I've used on today's makeup tutorial, I'm going to list in the description box, so that if you are interested, you can always check that out. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And before you move on to the next video, do make sure that you click that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future videos that are gonna be uploaded on this channel. So thanks so much once again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.